And 5, 4, 3. Kalita Airlines crash in 1993 at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Well, we had said that Karen had beginning to have doubts about their ability to line up with the runway and that they were unable, I said last time, to definitely spot the Cuban border and that they had made a turn onto the penultimate leg too soon, and I said that they wouldn't have enough room to turn into final approach. Okay, he asked if they would ever be able to make it. Yes, of course, they said if they could catch the strobe light. Such strobe light didn't exist, okay? It was off. Now Chapo began, let's resume here our story. Now Chapo began the final turn toward the runway, starting 610 meters, 610 meters south and 914 meters west of the threshold. Here is the threshold. Here it is. This is the threshold. This the runway 28 approach, and this is the runway 2 approach. Okay, here like this. Okay, and this is the Cuban airspace. Okay. Now, I said. Now, aligning with the runway, this is the runway, okay? This is Chapo, okay? This is Cuban airspace, I said. Aligning with the runway from this position in a DC-8 was impossible, okay? It was impossible. Okay. But Chapo tried anyway. He banked 30 degrees. Okay, this is 30 degrees, okay? Like here, 30 degrees. He banked 30 degrees to the right, the maximum typically used in normal operations. It wasn't enough. He banked more. As Chapo focused on making the turn, he let his speed drop even lower, down to 136 knots, which is 252 kilometers an hour. Watch keep your speed up, said Richmond, but no one acknowledged him, and Chapo kept banking to 40 degrees, then 45, then 50. Yes, this is 50 degree, 45, this is 50. Okay, maintaining a bank angle, this step would have required a speed of at least 147 knots. Okay. Plane jet burst into flames, okay? Here, this is the firefighters crew who rushed to attend the accident, okay? As bank angle increases, the vector of the lift produced by the wings becomes more and more offset from the vertical, reducing its effectiveness in countering the force of gravity. This causes the plane's stall speed, the speed below which there will not be enough lift to stay in the air to increase. As Chapo steepened the bank, the plane's stall speed kept going up and its air speed kept going down until finally they met in the middle. I should have turned it over to Tom, but I was already sort of out of it. As the bank angle approached 50 degrees, okay, this is 50 degrees, a stall warning suddenly activated, shaking the pilot's control columns to warn them of the impending catastrophe. Stall warning, someone called out. But Chapo I think the story means like terrain, terrain. But Chapo just kept banking, moving towards 60 degrees as he desperately attempted to line up with the runway. I got it, he said. Storm warnings, said both Coran and Richmond. Terrain, almost simultaneously. I got it, back off, Chapo shouted. Someone yelled, max power. Another person screamed, there it goes, there it goes. Numerous witnesses caught the side of the plane, burned to almost 90 degrees, falling nose first out of the sky, just short of the runway threshold. Okay? And this is the runway threshold here, okay? And this is the runway 28 approach. They should have done this, no accident. They would have done this, no accident would have happened. But he did it in the wrong way, okay? The DC-8 lifted sideways into the ground, its right wing tip digging a deep furrow through the earth before the entire plane cartwheeled in a huge ball of fire. The cockpit broke off like a pencil tip and rolled across the ground as flames consumed the fuselage. A group of firefighters conducting a training exercise witnessed the crash and immediately rushed to the scene to search for survivors. Burning debris lay scattered over a huge area, and the spilled fuel had started a grass fire that quickly began to burn out of control. As they arrived on the scene, the firefighters realized the remains, okay, these are the remains of the cockpit. This is the crew digging, searching through a hole below the cockpit, under the cockpit, okay, for the crews asking for help. Okay, burning debris lay scattered over a huge area, and the spilled fuel had started a grass fire that quickly began to burn out of control. As they arrived at the scene, the firefighters realized that the remains of the cockpit had come to rest away from the flames, and someone inside was calling out for help. Climbing in through a hole in the floor here, they discovered all three pilots hanging sideways inside the mangled cockpit, seriously injured but alive. One by one, they extracted James Chappell, Thomas Corran, and David Richmond from the remains of the plane, all the while fending off the fire that had spread to several acres of grassland. The successful rescue came at the cost of the fire truck, which was burned over while its crew attended to the injured pilots. Firefighters tackled the fuel-fed fire that burned through the fuselage after the crash. In a rare moment of diplomacy between the U.S. and Cuba, American officials managed to secure permission for an air ambulance to cross Cuban airspace in order to rush the pilots to hospital in Florida. At the same time, the National Transportation Safety Board assembled a team to go to Guantanamo Bay to determine the cause of the crash. They brought the black boxes back to Washington, D.C., where investigators listened to the cockpit voice recording for the first time. They were astonished to hear Captain Chappell choosing to approach runway 10. This is runway 10, this is runway 28. Just for the heck of it, a level of unprofessionalism totally unbecoming of his more than 20 years of flying experience. The significance of the choice to land on runway 10 cannot be overstated. The NTSB reviewed the procedures for landing on runway 10 and concluded that the average DC-8 pilot wouldn't be able to complete the approach without either exceeding bank angle limits or violating Cuban airspace. So why did Chapo take such a risk, and why did no one of the crew members object? Furthermore, why didn't he go around like this? Okay. Go around. When it came clear that he couldn't line up with the runway, and why did no one else take control? Okay, now wait for the next part. Okay? Thank you. Next part consisting on, about the crew's ability to judge the risk of the runway 10 approach was hampered in part due to a lack of information. Okay? Okay, thank you.